Hey, hello, what's up everyone? It's Mecha, and that's right, you all asked for it many times, and now here it is finally. Fire Emblem 1 tier list review, the most important Fire Emblem of all the games, the one that everyone has played the most. So I invited the most prestigious Fire Emblem player in the universe to discuss it with me to make sure that we get each of these exactly right. How are you doing, Dani?
I'm feeling a little sick actually. Looking at this tier list, there's two units that stand out to me as being in absolutely the wrong place.
It itches, doesn't it? It itches.
It does.
It hurts. It hurts to look at. I know, because I made these off of a little bit of experience, I want to say. I think at one point I held an FE1 tier list session for my Patreons, come to think of it. I was like, alright guys, submit all the FE1 characters you want and I'll tier them, because I just finished playing the Switch port. And that's the only time I think I ever did them, because the game is special in a lot of ways. So here's the program for today, right? Actually, before I go into the program for today, Dani, you're here because you are one of the probably 5 human beings who has played FE1 in a very special way, right? Do you want to elaborate a little bit on your accomplishment that you finished today?
Yeah, so like 3 hours ago, I finished FE1. I saw the credits for the first time ever. I've tried to play it before, twice. The 2 failed attempts. One time I got to about halfway through and just got bored. And then when the Switch port came out, I got to the final chapter and just decided that getting to the final chapter was good enough. I don't need to see credits. I don't need to kill Medius. And then I turned off growths, and for some reason, there's something broken in my brain that when you turn off growths, it inspires me to actually play the games. So I just about 3 hours ago saw the credits of FE1 for the first time because I played on 0% growths. There's something wrong with me, truly. I don't know what it is. I'll talk to my therapist about it, but I don't know what made it that was what made me finish the game, but it was. And it was really fun, and it made me think differently about a lot to the characters than I previously had, because I played FE11, which I'm sure a bunch of people have, and thought, there's some differences, but there couldn't be that many. Like, weapon levels is a thing, and FE1 has some quirks that people usually attribute to Gaiden, just because those quirks get carried over into the remake, but it has, like, you promote to just to class bases is the big one.
Yeah, and the terrain, where magic ignores terrain, right? That's the other big one, I think.
Yeah,
and the
magic
doubling
ignores
threshold.
terrain, and terrain is like actually a big deal. It's not as big a deal as it is in Gaiden, but it's still kind of a big deal. And then the doubling threshold is 1.
Yeah.
So
just so funny.
You're almost always doubling or getting doubled. You don't realize it either because there's weapon weight, and it's not displayed unless you're like me and you have a fucking spreadsheet. Sorry to swear at the beginning of a video.
Nah, don't worry about it. I've never had this impact anything before, so don't worry about it.
Unless you're a lunatic like me and you have a spreadsheet of all of the weapons and all of the weapon stats in FE1 on the other window, which half the time I didn't even look at. Like, you get far enough in, you just sort of attack because there's no battle forecast. You just attack out of like how it feels. This feels like it should be good.
Yeah, that's how I play this game.
But yeah, those factors like change quite a few things, and I see people in lower ranks than they should be, and I think it's because they belong there in FE11 but not FE1.
Yeah, that's probably. I did make this game right after this tier list right after making make it through the Switch port, but looking back at it, I think I made some mistakes in the process. But that's okay, because we're here to correct them. So before we tier the actual units, point out the travesties, and do the to be done units, I think it'd be good to establish what every tier is for real briefly, because I think for FE1 it's a very special case. I know you just said you had fun, and I want to believe you. But for me personally, I think for a lot of people, playing FE1 is a bit of pain, and I think characters should be ranked a bit accordingly to how much they make the pain either less, or they make the pain go away quicker by letting you finish the game quicker, basically. So low effort, good characters get put higher, and then characters, the more effort they require, the more pain they inflict on you when you play the game, because it's so slow and so painful, the lower they end up. So I think the S tier would be for units that are basically painkillers. They make everything super smooth. And then A little bit less. They're like, either their pain lesseningness is less, or they require more effort to do it, but they can still do it. And then B is for like moderately useful units that are like nice, that are like, I guess they're useful sort of. And then C to E are varying degrees of pain. That's the way I view it. So with that in mind, I think there's probably going to be some units that we move, but that's just kind of the way I see it. Do you think that's a fair way to divide them into tiers?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I say I was having fun, and I was, but it was also, anytime I had to restart a chapter, it was a painful experience.
All right, you weren't on the Switch port with like the rewind feature, right? You were playing on an emulator.
I was playing on an emulator. Although the emulator I was using, Macellan, actually has a rewind feature, but I didn't want to use that because I was recording it, and I don't know, it felt weird. I'm gonna upload it eventually.
Nice.
For like the one person who wants to watch it after I figure out what I want to do in terms of commentary as well.
Oh God.
Because I was playing it at work, so I wasn't, doing live commentary, and I want it sped up anyway. But but yeah, I didn't use the rewind feature. So if someone important died, I would reset, and if someone moderately important died, a couple of times I left units dead that I didn't want to. Because I didn't want to replay the chapter.
Same. The run you're seeing on the bottom right, by the way, that's just an old run. I think that's the run that I just talked about, where I just played the game for the first time and finished it for the first time. So that's not necessarily an efficient run. That's just me trying to get through the game with as little pain as possible. Mostly using the best units, but it's not like any kind of efficiency, really. Just me trying to get through. So I guess, how about you name us a travesty that we should fix right now?
Well, I'm assuming that you are not allowing for glitches, right? The infinite defense or infinite resistance glitches, those are off the table. That's
a good point, actually. I kind of like those a lot, and I don't know if they impact things a lot. They probably impacted things a lot for you. I remember when I was trying to play the game, I said to myself, I'm playing FE1, it's the most archaic experience ever. If I'm not having fun with these glitches now, I'm never going to be able to experience them. So I did use them. And I kind of want to say they're fair game because it's FE1, and like you used them, right? You used the Dragonstone glitch, I think.
I used the Dragonstone glitch and I used the talisman glitch.
Yeah, I used both too. I say we let them in.
Okay. Do we want to do glitch pitfalls? Because there's a lot of misconceptions about the talisman glitch.
Okay, sure thing.
So I've seen 3 different accounts of the talisman glitch, and all of them are like come close to how it's supposed to be. If you use a barrier staff on a unit who uses the talisman on that same turn, it has to be that same turn, you will get the same error message you get that if you use a stat booster for a capped stat, and it doesn't consume it because, like, if you have capped HP and you try to use an HP stat booster, it won't consume it, which is a kindness that I don't think any other Fire Emblem game has. The resistance cap in Fire Emblem 1 is 7, which is how much you get from a talisman, or how much you get from pure water, or how much you get from barrier staff. But
everyone is 0, right? At every level, every class, everyone just has 0, right?
Everyone has 0 from base. If you use the talisman, you get the permanent 7, and if you use barrier or pure water, you get temporary. But if you use the talisman while you already have 7, which is only possible if you have barriered someone, then it reads it as if you're trying to use it on a cap set. It doesn't consume the talisman, but it still gives you the 7 from the talisman as a permanent.
Busted. Kind of.
FE1 AI, well, it is busted because even though there's magic that deals more than 7 damage, so you don't have infinite resistance, FE1 Mage AI reads capped resistance and says, oh, I better not attack that person, and just won't attack you. So if you combo that with the Dragonstone glitch, which is use a promotion item on Tiki or Bantu, and they get like plus 10 defense, and it doesn't consume the item, so you can get them to infinite defense, then they basically become movable walls, and you can just be like, I don't feel like that. A lot of FE1 maps have 1 to 2 tile wide choke points. So combining Bantu with, is it Xane? Is that his name in the new translation?
Yeah, that is the newest one.
Like, that creates a 2 tile wide choke point, and then once you get Tiki, you can make a 3 tile wide choke point, and just sort of not engage with it. You can just spend all the time in the world doing inventory management and setting up for your boss kill, and then do your boss kill, and just don't have to worry about anything else on the map. It's pretty wonderful.
That's wonderful. That probably sounds like pain reducing material to me, or like at least slightly.
It doesn't save time, but it definitely makes it so you don't have to engage with the map, and I say that's pain reducing. I would, off of the back of that, I do think Bantu would get moved up at least to C tier.
Mm-hmm. It's fair. Do you think he's better than Tiki? Because if you glitch him, like, who cares about the stat differences, right?
Well, I actually think Tiki is better for one reason.
Oh.
So Medius isn't that hard to kill, but the fucking mana keep blocking your way to him is. I used stat boosters to max out Marth's strength, defense, and HP, because you can buy them in the secret shop. He still dealt 0 damage with the Falchion to that fucking mana keep blocking. Because it doesn't deal effective damage to mana keys.
Oh right, it's Earth Dragons only?
It's only to Medius specifically.
Bro, what have you done?
Minerva was at 18 strength because she used stat boosters. And with the Worm Slayer, she dealt 6 damage to this guy. And he has 52 health, and there's fucking Fortify Staff clerics on both sides of him.
Wow, and so but Tiki has effective damage then, right?
Tiki has effective damage against him, and you have to kill him in order to attack Medius from one range, and Medius is immune to all 2 range damage. Tiki is the only way to get rid of that guy without, like, burning all 3 Geosphere uses and then attacking him with multiple units from one range, because he has a Demon Stone, so he can't get hit by 2 range, so magic doesn't hit him either.
It sounds like Tiki reduces a lot of pain. In fact, she's directly responsible for the pain to stop at the end.
Yes.
Yes.
I because of that, I think Tiki, I mean, it's the only thing that she does other than the infinite defense glitch, but I think that it's good enough for B tier for her, personally.
I agree. Alright. I'll put it like below Jagan, right there. I don't know where the rest is going to go, but it sounds like, I don't think she's better than Jagan, from what it sounds like.
I think she's worse than Hardin? Hardin?
Yeah, Hardin.
What's his name?
Yeah.
Hardin.
Yeah.
I think she's worse than Hardin because he, like, good stats and isn't dealt effective damage by bows, so I like him, but
there, I'll put it below.
She definitely reduces a lot of pain.
Uh-huh.
And then Bantu, I would say either B or C tier, just because being able to wall off a choke point and then take your time with inventory management without having to route a map is very pain reducing.
Okay, I'll put him at top of C tier for now. We can move the others alongside as we see fit. I didn't expect that. I was like very disappointed in mine because I didn't really make use of the walling so much. I was just trying to make him actively do stuff, but I didn't do the talisman glitch on him, so he didn't end up being immune to everything. He just was immune to physical damage, which wasn't enough to be an infinite wall everywhere. That's what I kind of disappointed.
I mean, 7 res is a lot too because there's no magic stat, so it's just like anyone who has thunder, fire, or freeze is going to deal 0 damage to someone with 7 res.
Isn't he
Hellfire deals
magic, or is
2?
it just FE3? I think that might be FE3. Where you're.
I mean,
yeah, probably.
I think it's just FE3, but 3 times 0 is still 0.
That's true. Okay, so that's the dragons over with and all their glitchy glories. I guess the next travesty to talk about, it could be Linde, but is there someone else who stands out first? If you don't want to do Linde right now.
Really I'll do Linde right now.
Alright, let's do Linde.
I thought Linde was trash as well, from in FE11 she's pretty trash. She has exclusive access to Aura, which deals 20 damage. Nobody has resistance in this game. So you can just use her to, if she gets to the point where she can double, where she's at 0 AS at base, because Aura weighs 7 and she has 7 speed.
Yeah, and no weight, no con, no weight reduction, no weight compensation in this game.
But she has a pretty decent speed growth. It's like 40 or 50%, I think.
60, I think. I think I looked it up this morning, right? We were talking.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's good. So if she can get 1 point of speed, then she doubles all generals. Well, not all generals, but most generals, because they usually have steel or silver, which will weigh them down. Or if she can get to promotion, she can double them as well, because she gets raised to sage bases, which gives her... How much speed is it? 9?
I think Sage, our Bishop is 14, I think. I looked it up too. I can grab what you feed real quick. I'm pretty sure she gets FE1 Linde. I think she gets 14. If she's doubling, she deals 40 damage, which is going to kill most bosses. And a lot of bosses don't have 2 range.
And even the ones that do, if she can just survive a single hit from a javelin, then she doubles her 40 damage. That's probably going to be a boss kill. Like, you have to warp her there, because she's not going to make her way across the map.
Yeah,
like
she ignores the
low
gate,
move,
right?
also,
Because she's magical.
yes, she's magical, so she ignores I think it's a 30% avoid boost that the gates give. And I think that the only boss that doesn't die to 40 damage is like Camus, and then the Manicheets who are immune to magic. But that's only the Demon Stone ones. Firestone ones, she will almost certainly double because they're pretty slow, and almost certainly one round because, again, 40 damage is a lot when the HP cap is 52.
Mm-hmm.
And even if she can't double, like 20 damage guaranteed is still great for finishing up a boss kill if you don't have like some of the endgame bosses are pretty bulky. So even if your boss killers, like I think Minerva or Marth are the two best boss killers, if they're like short of one rounding, even by quite a margin, she can like make that up because 20 damage, very good.
Yeah, she also has 25 uses, which is more than I remember there being, both in Shadow Dragon and this one. That's pretty good. So I guess she's not going to run out. And like, even if you could, you have Hammer in somewhere anyway, if you really needed it.
Because you're not using her on regular enemies. Like, she is basically just a boss killer. I didn't deploy her if I wasn't planning on warping her to the boss. So, I mean, there's less than 25 chapters. She's not going to run out of uses.
Yeah, I agree. Especially because she's only in half of them in the first place. Because she joins like halfway through. I think the reason she was tossed in E tier to begin with is because I was like, she's about low base level, like literally base level 1. And she doesn't gain more XP from being on the level, because in this game you just gain XP from enemies based on what their XP rating is, which is basically always like 32, I think. So you just gain 32 XP for killing whatever. Maybe it's a promoted guy, you get a bit more. But you don't get more for being on a level. Like, he gets the same XP as Jagan and Marth, for example. So she doesn't like grow faster, but it doesn't really matter if your base utility is that good. And if she does get the promotion, like we just said, she becomes really good. She gets she also hilariously gets 8 defense if she promotes ever. She has a base of 3 defense. It has like 20% growth, but it goes right up to 8 if she promotes ever, which I think is super funny. I don't know if it matters at all, because it sounds like she can even do anything without promoting anyway. So where do you think she'd move? Like,
she was level like 3 at the end of my route.
Yeah.
I'd say bottom of B or top of C, because like she's not the only boss killer in the game, and she joins late enough that like I'm not sure how badly you would need her if you had a growth unit as your boss killer. Although my Minerva had like nearly capped stats, and I still needed Linde to help out. So
well, she
she's
can't
better
be
than
B tier because
Gotoh.
my B tier is full. I need to drop people out of there. So if you want to,
put her in the bottom of A then. Put her in the bottom of A. That's
okay.
fine.
Good excuse. Good excuse. This is a very important series tier list after all. So we gotta make sure. If
I'm
someone
biased.
drops out, I could always put her back in B anyway. But we'll see about that. Okay, I think Linde was
if
the
you want
biggest
B to be
travesty.
less crowded, Gotoh does not belong up there.
No, I don't think so either.
Holy shit, he's bad. I think in your Gotoh tier list you talked about how like their big job is being able to kill the final boss for you if you don't have a unit that can do that.
He's immune, right?
He's a magical unit, and the final boss is immune to magic.
I know, right? He's stupid. You said the Manicheet in front of him is immune to magic too, right? Because of Demon Stone. So
yes.
it's just,
the Manicheet in front of him is also immune to magic. I just used him for Fortify because I used the Geostone. Because the Geostone works against Medius and FE1, which is stupid.
How much does it do? 15?
It's random.
Oh, right. It's random. It's like 10 to 15 or something.
It's so funny. I dealt like 25 damage to Medius with the Geostone because I activated it twice, and the Helii doesn't come on until someone is less than half HP. So I just used him to fortify after I Geostoned, and that was all Gotoh did. And I feel like that is... Because the other thing is, he can use Warp, but because you can't rearrange items prior to preps, you probably have a staff user with Warp who has to hand it to him if you want him to use Warp, in which case, why don't you just use that staff user's turn?
I was going to be like,
because trading takes up your turn as well.
Yeah. Or rather, it's like, if you want to trade an item to another unit, that unit has to give it to someone else. You can't take an item from a unit and not use your turn. So, yeah, it consumes your turn. You can't trade freely, which is also pain. That's probably the biggest pain I forgot about. So, yeah, Gotoh... I mean, E is for like absolutely useless, right? And completely trash, terrible. So maybe bottom of D or something?
Yeah, I'd say D tier.
Yeah.
Is that Est next to him?
Yes, that is Est.
Okay, I'm gonna use this excuse because, like, I assume Est is there because of triangle attack, like being able to enable that.
I think it's like, maybe you can fly and do something, and maybe it's triangle attack too. I don't know. But also, like, and she's this low because of the same problem with Linde, right? Low level, but can't catch up because no XP gain, etc.
But her stats matter, whereas Linde is, like, kind of don't.
Yeah.
You say low level. She's a higher level than Catra joins it.
Oh, right. They switched that for Shadow Dragon, I think. Someone brought that. I think Peeve brought that up to me. That's right. So
but fun fact, like, because I tried using her for triangle attack. Fun fact about triangle attack in FE1, it's a guaranteed crit. It is not a guaranteed hit.
You can miss the triangle attack. No Camus kill for you.
You can. I had to fucking reset the map because of that one time.
That's so jank. That's so terrible. Wait, but like, I feel like if there's gonna be a case where Est is like moderately useful anywhere, it would be 0% growth. So did you get any use out of her besides missing?
I used to set up a Oh, I did actually. So because inventory management is trash, and both secret shops that I needed, because there's a secret shop for offensive stat boosters and a secret shop for defensive ones. I gave Est the member card in the chapter she joined in, and then kept her benched because both secret shops are accessible by a flyer most easily because they're surrounded by mountains, and the deployment slot near the first one is slot number 16. So I thought, someone who's definitely going to be lowest in the deployment order, I'm never deploying S, give her the member card, have her go shopping for power rings.
You know, as archaic as the system is, how stupid it is, it does allow you to make like really silly plays like that, which I really enjoy talking about. I don't like doing them because it's so tedious, but I enjoy hearing about them and talking about them. So
I mean, it was definitely a moment that I felt like the big brain meme.
Yeah. Always a good moment. So do you think she should move then?
No, I think she's fine. Like,
okay.
Enabling triangle attack is fun meme, but I don't think she's useless because she can fly and do stuff like flying shopping trips is like a thing she can do, I guess. But you know, any of the Pegasus sisters can do that, and then like triangle attack, that's utility, but neither of those are great.
Okay. She's staying then. Any other travesties?
I mean, that depends. Which the C tier and D tier units are those Gordin or Tomas, or it's like Gordin, Tomas, and Sedgar? Are those the three that are?
I did promise you a funny story about how I knew which they were. So these guys, they are in the order that they join in. They were in that little space below in Tier List Maker where you can see who's left. It's only NPCs at this point. So I knew that this is Gordin because he's before Wrys, so it can't be like anyone else. So this is why I know this is Gordin. I know this is Sedgar because I know I put him right next to Wolf. I remember doing that. And then this is apparently where I put Tomas because he can promote into a sniper. That's really the whole reasoning to it. But he looks a little high on my end. But that's the order they're in. So this is Tomas, this is Sedgar, and this is Gordin.
I think Tomas is right where he belongs, actually.
Okay, cool.
I think that Tomas is just... yeah, I think he's right where he belongs. I got a lot of utility out of him in 0% growths, because he just turned into... Like, you get him 2 levels, he promotes to sniper, and he just becomes better Jeorge.
Yeah, you get like 14 speed, right, if you go a sniper.
You get 14 speed, and Jeorge's base speed is 12, so you just... Like, the pre-promotes in Shadow Dragon have lower than class bases in a lot of
I noticed
instances,
that too, for
which
Jake.
is really weird.
Minerva, yeah. And, I was going to ask something. Did you need to give him a manual for the Parthia?
You do, and the dumbest decision I made all run, I give the manual to Jeorge, even though Tomas joins in that chapter, because I didn't think I would be able to promote Tomas, and then I promoted Tomas, like, the next chapter. And, because the doubling threshold, it's a 2-speed difference, which doesn't sound like a lot, but because the doubling threshold is just 1, like, oftentimes Jeorge would be getting doubled by other snipers. And, yeah, I mean, really, I should have saved the manual. You only get 1 manual. I should have saved it for Minerva because I did not use the Parthia enough to justify it, and she could use the Gradavu.
For anyone wondering, by the way, manual is the same thing as an arm scroll, which is translated differently. So it increases your weapon level, which is 1 stat in FE1. You don't have like weapon ranks like in GBA. Everyone just has a weapon level stat, and every weapon has a weapon level stat too. And if your weapon level is equal or higher than the weapon you're trying to use, you can use it. If not, you can't. And it levels up every now and then. actually a lot of people have like high weapon level growth normally, so chances are you probably will use something you want to use along the way. So that's how that works. Parthia is a bit hard to get to because the weapon level requirements for the legendary weapons, sort of the relics, whatever they're called, Regalia, are pretty high, like Gradifu and Parthia. That's how that works.
It's like 14 or something.
Yeah, it's pretty high.
I don't remember the exact amount.
I just know Jeorge can reach it or has it at base, one of those two things. Depends on which game you're playing.
Yeah, Jeorge can reach it with a single manual, which there's only one in the game, so...
Very nice. I think it can grow to use it at some point. You just have to try hard. I think I remember getting FE3 Castor to use the Parthia, which was quite a lot of work, but he did get there eventually. That's all I remember. Anyway, so if Tomas is right where he belongs, then where do we go next? What is another... Is there any Travises left, or are the worst ones out of the way now?
I wouldn't... It's not, like, the worst thing in the world, but I would put Xane in between the White Wings, just because he can do the same thing as Bantu, like unlocking, instead of one tile wide choke point, a 2 tile wide one. You have to remember to keep transforming him every time he untransforms.
I think his transformation time is also random, right? For a little bit.
It is, which is really annoying. But yeah, like lower availability, which is why I don't think that he is better than both White Wings, because Paula can become a Wyvern in 2 levels, and then the same thing as Tomas, she just like gets Wyvern base stats, which are really good.
That's cool. I always feel like Catcher and Pala are like just not painful enough to train, especially Pala because it's only 2 levels, but it's still annoying. But it's good enough to make up for it, especially if it lets you skip later maps. Like the effort pays off. And it's like Xane himself. I don't remember how much I used him, but I feel like if you want to get through FE1, you want to use like a very low number of characters, because the more you have to train, the more you have to pain.
Yes.
And then if you can use Xane to copy one of those characters you trained, that's like a lot of value. So I always thought that was pretty good. I always had him to copy like either my stat booster to Minerva or Jagan or Marth, and then just let him do whatever they did and kill everything. I'm assuming you did something similar with him.
He was always Bantu. Like I never made him anyone other than Bantu, except for when I'm in Tiki.
Brand new sentence. He was always Bantu.
I really value, like, if you can just place a wall down anywhere and just choke off a point. I thought that was really valuable, like, in terms of, because FE1's inventory system and the way that you trade, like, they're one-way trades, so you can only trade to someone who has an empty inventory slot. And the supply convoy is, like, a square on the map, so units have to go stand on it, then that takes up their turn, then they have to move off it for someone else to be able to go to it. Being able to do inventory management requires you to either route the map or place walls down so that enemies can't get to you. And, you know, being able to be like, this 2 tile wide choke point is suddenly impassable to all enemies allows you to do that freely, and I found that really, really valuable.
And even if you're routing instead, he can still help with that too, so either way it works for him.
Although the AI in FE1 is smarter than the AI in basically every other GBA game before 3DS, because they will not attack a unit they do 0 damage to.
Kaga did it first.
And that blew my mind when I figured that out.
Great though, because it saves a lot of animation time.
It does.
The pain.
Although I love Bantu and Tiki's animations. They're really great.
I don't remember them very well. I remember liking. I remember being, for most of the animations in this game, and being like, oh, for its time, that's really funny and cute. I love them a lot. I just don't remember them very well. But I'll go through the footage and see if I can spark some memories. They're very cool.
They're almost as good as Xane's untransformed combat animations, which are the greatest thing in existence.
His combat animations? I thought it was his idle sprite on the map, where he's like dancing.
That's also great. Or the fact that when he transforms, you get the promotion music and the promotion animation.
Ah, yes. Every time Xane transforms, it's like a celebration. But then again, the guys are always dancing anyway, so that's probably what it is.
I mean, we've been talking for a while. Do we want to move on to the 2B tier? Because I don't see anything else.
I was going to propose that. If someone else is like really wrong along the way, we can just do that. That's fine. Like, I don't really care much about the various degrees of pain. I just don't want it to be any super big errors here. I guess one more thing before we go to the TBDs though. What do you think of the top here, right? Like Marth, I think this is Wendell, Minerva, and then Jagan. Do you think they're in the right places?
I do. It's possible that recency bias has me wanting to put Hardin above Jagan, because Jaden doesn't really like level anything, right? So
No.
0% Jagan is basically regular Jagan.
Yeah, it's like 10% instead, so like whatever.
In that case, I would put Hardin above Jagan just because his stats are better at base, and that's before he promotes and gets paladin bonuses.
Alright. Sorry.
Like, Jagan got doubled and one-rounded by so many things in the mid-game, and I just stopped deploying him.
He's all about the paladin bases, and then he has like below class bases, I know, but like the movement, and then there's the silver lance especially. But the silver lance isn't even that good because other people can use it too. So I guess it's not really... I remember with Jagan, I just give him
Sheeta can use it.
Yeah.
Sheeta can use it in the join chapter, and then like compare Jagan's stats to Xane and Abel's, and it's just like
wow.
Yeah. Shoutouts to the speedrun though for using Jagan to kill the boss and then credits warping.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're doing tier list of that run, it's a lot shorter. You actually have like it's like Jagan on top and then Marthrai below. That's it. That's all you got. That's all you need. I guess Abel does like one javelin throw. I think that's it.
I think so. Yeah. I think so. Yeah, one of the caps does.
Yeah. Okay, so let's do the TBDs then. So this is this is Gordin, right? This is Gordin. So all I remember about Gordin FE1, right, is that he joins with a bowgun, which is a super funny weapon that he never brought back, but it's like a mini killer bow almost. But then
it's a crossbow.
Is
it's
it 1-2?
Crossbow. Kaga did it first. It's not 1-2, but the sprite is a crossbow sprite.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean. Yeah. That's fair. And I remember like for him to be useful long term, you have to promote the sniper, which sounds like a pain. So I'm thinking like D or E tier, but he's probably still like moderately useful in the early chapters if you want something to do, because everyone has to be there. But then again, you're probably almost Marth and Jagan soloing if you want him to like if you want Marth to get out of control. So maybe he's not even that useful. I don't know. He seems kind of useful for 4 chapters and then like never useful again to me.
Yeah, that was my experience with him, and I probably used him more than most people because I wasn't feeding kills to Marth because like Marth didn't gain stats, so there was no point.
Okay.
I'd say probably top of E.
E. Okay, that's good. He should stay separate from this guy because I'll never be able to separate them again if I do. I'll never be able to tell them apart. Hold on, let me cut the NPCs out of the view. They're ugly.
That's Sedgar, right? In the D?
Yeah, in the D that's Sedgar, because he's next to Wolf. That's easy to remember.
Okay.
Not that he's very distinct, but he has purple hair at least. And then
Riff.
He doesn't get XP for healing.
I knew this was gonna happen. I played on the old translation patch for extra memes, and now I'm calling them all by the wrong names.
Oh yeah, whatever. It's bald healing guy. That's all we gotta know.
Yeah.
I mean, healing is
also
okay,
garbage.
I guess. I kind of liked him actually. I think, but I don't think he warps right away. I think it takes a lot of work to get him to warp, and like he has to get XP. It's just so annoying.
Yeah, he gets XP through combat.
Yeah, he sure does. He gets quite a bit though, I think, from combat. It's just combat with him is so bad that it doesn't feel like a lot, but he gets like a fair bit, I think.
I mean, counterpoint. This is supposed to be at reducing pain, right?
Oh yes, true.
If an enemy attacks
for
you
us,
on
not
enemy
for Wrys,
phase,
not for him.
But if an enemy attacks you on enemy phase and you don't counter, then that's an animation that doesn't progress you farther in the map. That's painful.
Just listening to that makes me feel pain. That is pretty bad. Let me just double check how far he is from warp. How far? I mean, it doesn't even matter because you don't need that many warp users anyway, right? You have like Lena and Wendell and then Boah. Like, how much more demand is there for warp users?
There are 3 warp staffs in the game. Lena, Wendell, Boah, and Maria all have warp at base.
Oh yeah, Maria too. That's right. She doesn't have that in Shadow Dragon, so I kept forgetting.
And any mage who promotes to a sage gets warp, because the weapon level base of sage is 10.
Ah, gaming. Wait, so Merric is a better warper than Wrys.
Merric is a better warper than Wrys.
Bruh.
So I'd say D tier because like he heals you in the early chapters, so you don't have to wait on forts. But like that's it.
Moderate reduction of pain. All right, did you say top or bottom?
Doesn't
sound very good to me.
You choose.
All right, you're going here.
Better than Gotoh. Yeah, better than Gotoh. Because Gotoh is like a staffer when you. Like, Riff is a staffer when you don't have any staffers. Gotoh is a staffer when you have all the staffers in the world.
Exactly. Wrys even does like 5 things throughout the whole game that's more than Gotoh, I feel like. That's throughout the whole game, this entire existence. It can be literally just be walking to a convoy. Although that's technically something everyone can do. But I'm just trying to make up reasons to put him above Gotoh. The point is, you know, he's not good.
I don't know if that's board or cord, whether that's Sagi or Magi.
Let me ask you this: does it matter? Does it matter?
Right? They go next to each other, right?
Yeah, I don't know where the other one is though. I know Barst is here.
It's a D tier. He's in D tier.
Oh, I see him now. He was right here. He was right at my
twins.
cursor. All right, yeah, explains a lot. Okay, all right. They're never gonna be separate again, because I can't tell which. They're lost. There's no way to tell which is which.
Can you swap them with each other?
I can.
There we go.
There we go.
That's
Much better. Yeah, I was a travesty before. I'm sorry. That looked awfully wrong. I know. So just like kind of Gordin-like utility, right? You just walk them through the chapters early on, and if there's like an enemy they can hit, cool. And if they die, you don't reset.
One of them has a hammer. One of them has hammer access, and the other one doesn't. And
Wait,
that one is
good,
better.
right?
So we'll just. I don't remember which one is the one with the hammer, because the hammer's good. It's effective damage, and you don't have any effective damage other than the rapier at that point.
Isn't that thing better than the Iron Axe in like all ways?
I think so.
Let me check. I think I remember that. If you want hammer, oh, whoops, not hammer, hammer, Iron Axe. Oh, what? Iron?
It's effective damage against.
I can't
it's
find
effective
an Iron
damage,
Axe.
though.
What? Is there no Iron Axe?
I think there. No, there is, because it's just called Iron.
Axe? Okay, I looked for Iron. It gave me Iron Sword. Okay, I found the axe. Okay, so hammer is 6 might, 7 6 might, 70 hit, weight 6, and an axe is 1 more might, but a 10 more hit and 1 more weight. How is this better again? I'm very confused. I guess it's just the effectiveness.
Yeah, effective damage against like knights. Knights are pretty. I always forget how hard knights are to kill, because like movement sucks, but enemy knights don't need to care. They just need to like stand on a throne, and then you can't deal damage to them.
I will say both of them can use both, because the weapon level requirements are literally 1 and 2, and they both have higher base weapon level than that, 3 and 5. So
I'm thinking Shadow Dragon then.
Exactly.
I'm thinking Shadow. Yeah. So yeah, they are just one starts with a hammer in his inventory, and one starts with an iron axe in his inventory, and they're basically personal weapons because trading is too much of a pain in the ass.
I will say Cord has a 100% HP growth, which is funny at least. So I guess I think I could put Cord up top though.
And
definitely.
they nerfed him in Shadow Dragon, didn't they?
They sure did. He's nerfed a lot. And that game are very different in a way. They kind of resemble each other though, because like they're kind of like how they are in Shadow Dragon. For example, their speeds are similar. Like in FE1 board has 7 base speed and 10% growth, whereas Cord has 40% growth and 9 base speed. So they are still like that in Shadow Dragon, kind of. So there are some resemblances, but the weapon levels are like made up by whoever localized Shadow Dragon or whoever designed it.
Well, it's like you get handed the silver sword for Hardin, and he can't use it.
And this to the Hardin, yeah, I won't. Okay, how about the next funny axe user? Actually, I wanted to use him. I really badly wanted to use Darros in the early game. You might be able to tell in the run, but there was a point where I was like, I hate dragging these units along the map to get like 1 or 2 kills in the whole thing, and that's just never a reward. He doesn't even promote either. Neither of these units promote. So I was like, all right. At some point, I was just like, I'm done. I'm not doing it anymore. But I had fun using him with the hammer. I remember that much. But I don't think.
Would you like to hear about how I used Darros in my 0% run? That was extremely fun.
Did he become Seal?
He had every devil axe in my inventory, in his inventory, and nothing else. And the devil weapons deal a bunch of damage. One of the other than using Tiki to kill the Manakee, one of the ways that you can kill the Manakee blocking Medius is the devil sword on a really high stat hero. But the devil axe is like also very powerful.
It's 20 might. What the hell?
Yeah, he was just deleting. Like, it's not as good as Aura because it hits on defense, so it's, but then on the other hand, it gets boosted by your attack stat, which Aura doesn't. So I don't know, it's really good. And eventually he died to a Devil Axe backfire, and wow. I just kept playing.
Unexpected. How unexpected.
He broke a Devil Axe without dying. So like that, I mean, there are only 9 uses in Shadow Dragon, but still, that's becoming Sale.
All right, that sounds like that was worth putting him above the others ones at least. Plus,
I mean, that's personal experience because it was funny. Any of them could have done it, but Darros.
He can walk on water to do it. That's what matters. I like this giant ass orange void between these two, just because of the way the portraits were made. I like that a lot. Okay, Darros became Seal. Very good. I do think it's fair to put him like around here. I think this is a fine spot for him. He's like.
Yeah.
He's usable if you can stand the pain.
in the first chapter where you fight a Manecate, where there's a Manecate on the throne and there's a bunch of pirates, you can use his water walking to bait some of the pirates out of the way so that they don't like fight your other units, which I found very useful because, you know, weak units.
Okay, maybe he can go over whether this is Vyland or Mathis for that alone. Yeah, that'd be viable. Maybe not. I don't think he's over Castor.
Sure.
Castor's like okay early game, I think.
Yeah, I like Castor. I think Castor's like Wyverns are some of the hardest enemies to fight. Having a bow makes you at least decent.
Yeah. He's like, what, 1 or 2 more move than most archers? So if you're going to deploy someone to deal with him, and you don't have the horseman yet, you might as well use him, I guess. Although actually you don't face Wyverns until you get the horseman. So maybe that's like whatever. But...
No, I mean, I ended up deploying him a few times, even alongside the horseman.
Nice. Okay, Castor good. Coolio. Treasure. The treasure.
Again, if we're ranking this on tedium reduction, I would say at the very least somewhere in C tier, because thieves can open doors, and that means you don't have to deal with door key inventory management. You get more than enough door keys for everything you'd ever want, but I'd much rather just use a thief. Like, thieves can use the thief key, which is a 16-use key that works on doors, and door keys are 1-use keys that anyone can use.
Is it like a lockpick, or can it not open chests?
It can't open chests, but they can inherently open chests, just like Marth does.
Oh, right. Okay, I was so confused about that for a long time. Okay. So they basically, yeah.
I would say somewhere in C tier.
Yeah, I do think it's nice that you can open chests then, because that way you don't have to send Marth that way. You can less pain that way. So, below Bantu?
Yeah, Bantu. I'd say below Pala as well.
That's fair.
And then since we're ranking thieves, we might as well put the other one right there, like just
same
below
minus
him,
one door, right?
Availability. It's minus the door to unlock his cell.
Yeah, exactly. And then like whatever Julian can fight before that, I guess. But there's really not much out there that you modify with Julian anyway. He's. I
don't think I ever had either. Oh no, Julian helped kill some priests, which sounds like not a big deal, but he killed the one who drops a warp staff, so like that matters.
I was reminded of something that Bopper told me. They really didn't want Julian to fight because his base weapon level is 2, and the only sword you can use with the base weapon level is 2 is the Arran sword, and he has a 0% growth in weapon level, so he's never going to be able to use anything else, and he can't promote either. So no.
He doubles a lot of stuff though.
Yeah, he does.
0% growth, he still doubles things.
Yeah, he's 12 speed. It's pretty good.
Oh, fucking channel icon.
Yes.
Lena.
I always think of like whenever I see this, I think of Dani because you know it's your channel and Discord icon, or it was your Discord icon for a long while.
I think it's still my regular Discord icon. It's just I have a custom one in our server.
You have to catch some DMs.
S tier.
Yes.
S tier. Part of it is bias. I love this unit, but also like warp.
Yeah.
She's your first warper. And
what's a really good like pain medicine? What's a good analogy here? I don't know.
What's a good what?
I'm not being sponsored by any medicines, but I just want to know what's a good pain medicine or a good headache medicine.
Well, I took some Excedrin migraine about an hour ago because I had a headache and I knew we were going to record and I wanted to get rid of it. Okay. And it worked like a charm. So she's like Excedrin migraine.
Good.
And because trading is such a pain in the ass, she's always going to have her warp staff because there's no reason to trade it off of her onto anyone else. So she's always going to be one of your 3 warp. Like the way that, at least my approach to the game was, you give the warp staffs to 3 different units because since you can't trade, if you want to do multiple warps over the course of a single turn, you need to have multiple units holding warp staffs. You can't just have the one warp staff and trade it between Boah and Lena, which did make planning warps very interesting in terms of like, okay, well I'm going to use Boah's warp staff because it has 6 uses instead of Lena's, which only has 3, because then I'll be able to like, I want to keep all the warp staffs alive.
Keep your
because I can't trade. Because in the end game, I often wanted to warp 2 boss killers, like Minerva plus Linde, and then Marth.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Lena S tier.
That's how I do it anyway if I get Hammer. I know you didn't get Hammer, but even if you do, you kind of want it like that, so you can repair them all as well.
Can you Hammer in the warp staff in FE1? Because I know you can't in FE3.
Yeah,
and I didn't get Hammer just because, like, it was not worth. Like I did one of the. I made a wall of 3 Manicates, and it was not worth going to the village. But I know you can't repair the warp staff in FE3, so I didn't look into. Can you do it in FE1?
It's so annoying to check because the information out there is like very conflicting. But I'll check Strength Force real quick. It says weapon here. I'm not sure really. It doesn't really change anything with regards to Lena, even though she's like the only one who can use it. But I thought it'd be good to mention. I can't solve this dilemma right here. Because it says
at the very least. At the very least, you can repair Aura if you're using Linde for combat other than bosses.
Yeah. I don't remember what I used Hammer on either. I feel like I did it on Warp, but I'm actually not sure. But either way, whatever it does, it's good for her as well.
I'd say like Warp, Aura, and the Regalia are the only things worth repairing because money is... You have so much money. I bought enough stat boosters to cap almost all of Mart's relevant stats, and I still had over 50,000 gold left.
Did you arena?
And I didn't get the silver. I did do a little bit of arena because of the way promotion bonuses work. I decided that I want to use Navarre instead of Ogma because I like his portrait better. So I sent Navarre in the arena for a little bit, but you get handed so much gold. I skipped some gold chests and I skipped the silver card because they just were not worth the tedium, and I still did not come anywhere close to ever running out of gold. And I was constantly like. In order to make trading easier, I was just like, this silver weapon has 5 uses. I'm gonna throw it away. Free up an inventory slot.
Same here. I think I did that too because my inventory was full at some point. It had like 40 slots in it too. It's super tedious, super annoying too. Okay, so that's Lena in S tier. I didn't actually tier Merric yet. I'm surprised he was never submitted. He seems kind of goodish to me. I don't think I think he just like with Darros, I gave up on him at some points, but I don't remember. No, actually, I did use him a lot. I didn't even promote him. I just used him a lot with Excalibur. I just spammed Excalibur
because it's his personal. Yeah, it's his personal in FE1. No Wendell Caliber.
Sad.
But
good chip though.
Well, it has high crit. It has high crit. So as a, I do not think that 0% growths is a good context to judge units in, but. He was the only way of getting the member card because there's a cleric who you have to kill who's standing on the other side of a wall, and she walks away after turn 1. So you can only unless you want to go through the corridor that has a bunch of units you don't want to fight, you have to one-run her through the wall. And an Excalibur crit was like the only way to do it because she has really high speed.
That's very specific, but I think it's a good example of what makes Merric useful in this game. Do you think it's worth
13 damage with a high crit rate.
Yeah, nothing is going to survive that, right?
Pretty good. Like, if he crits, it's 39 damage against 0 defense. And if he doesn't, 13 is good crit. And it's the only spell other than Fire that has 100% hit. Because hit rate of spells, as far as I can tell, I might be wrong, but hit rate of spells doesn't seem to be affected by skill.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Because units with different skills seem to... Like, you don't get numbers, you just get the bars, so I might be wrong. But they seem to have the same hit rates with the same spells. So, 100% hit, 13 damage with a fairly high crit rate. It's, what, in the 30s?
Yeah, so magical accuracy is equal to weapon hit, and magical void is equal to luck. And enemies have no luck in this game, as far as I remember. So, it's literally just Excalibur hit, which is 100, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so you always
Excalibur's hit is 100.
Yeah, it's pretty broken actually. No missing, and if you won, not bad.
And it's got good. It doesn't get affected by terrain, so like the same thing as Aura. And it's got good crit. So like if it crits, it deals more damage than Aura, which you can't rely on a crit, but it's nice when it happens.
For sure. Do you think B or C tier then? Or do you think he's higher? I don't think he's A tier. I think that's too.
I do not think he's A tier. I think he's B tier, and I think. Probably lower than the Christmas calves.
Probably.
Because you can train them for much earlier, and then just sort of like he has the same problem as Linde that he can't really take on the map. He just takes on hard to kill units, whether that's the boss or like a random Manakete. There's a lot of like one random Manaketes that you want to deal with.
Yeah, he's an assassin type unit. Yeah, everyone else does.
And then he can he if he promotes, he gets to warp. Like, he can be one of your 3 warpers if you like him.
Yeah, I guess. I don't think you'd really, because warp is not something you need stats for, right? So why would you train when him instead of, just using a warper for that purpose? But I can see it.
if your Lena and your Maria die and you save over your file by accident.
Okay, true. They're probably taking the warp staff with them if they die.
True.
Oh well, it's something he can do, I guess.
It is.
I don't know who this is. Let me think. I think this is...
That's Roshea.
Oh, that's Roshea. Yeah, you're right. He's it should probably be the same as whatever this guy is, and then the same goes for whoever this guy is.
Sure, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's differences between them in some games, but I can't be bothered to research it, so I'm gonna do this.
There's differences between them, but who fucking cares? Each one of them has a community of fanboys and fangirls and fan-nays who are going to get really, really mad if you rank them low. But realistically, they're meme units. Like, they're meme units because they're bad. People like them because they're bad.
Exactly.
Not because the people are bad. Like, the people like them because the unit is bad.
Yes.
Feel free to use them. Like, I love using bad units. But, like, it doesn't change the fact that they're trash caps.
I'm trying to see any standout stats. I don't see any. I think they're just not worth it. And, I mean, obviously they're not worth, but I don't see anything that really stands out. I think Roshea is something... There's something you can do with, like, FE3 Book 1 or something. There's something like that is sticking with me, but that's it. That's all they can do.
I'm pretty sure Roshea...
I'll go ahead on Roshea, right?
Oh, that's rad. I think that's rad, isn't it?
I mean,
it's
Rad
either
is the red
Rad
hair,
or
right?
Caesar, right?
Pretty sure that...
Oh, so that's Caesar then.
Pretty sure this is Rad, because he's red hair. Rad hair.
It's Caesar then.
Then this is Caesar, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Rad and Caesar join near an arena and near a bunch of shops. You can use them to shop and go in supplies while you're, like, flyer skipping that chapter.
That's nice.
Or warp skipping that chapter. But, like, that's not enough to... Anyone with an empty inventory can do that.
Yeah, I agree. Like, you can just deploy anyone in that chapter and they have the same purpose, so who cares? I guess I like the hero class in this game, where you can actually promote to it, but I don't think that really counts for their utility anyway. Because you have so many, like, easier options to do that if you even wanted. And I think I tried to use both Agma and Navarre and I wasn't even very impressed with them, and I think I still benched them for a lot of chapters, so that says a lot about, like, how bad they are.
I used them for almost every chapter that I did combat, like, once I promoted them. But, the hero crest is the first promotion item you get. So if you do want to train a mercenary up to a hero, like, that's good.
Yeah. But if you're gonna pick them, you have to endure the most pain to do it. So it's still not much of a boon, I think.
Yeah, there's an arena in their chapter, but again, pain.
Yeah, but, that's just... Arena just sounds like a lot of combat animations to me, personally.
It's a lot of combat animations, and if your weapon breaks, you can't leave the arena, and you just stand there while you get killed.
I forgot you use your own weapon in the arena. That's funny.
Yeah, and then, like, that makes arena grinding more obnoxious because you have to... Equipping a weapon is a turn action. It ends your turn if you equip a weapon.
Right.
So you have to equip a weapon if you want to equip a different weapon than the one you already have. Otherwise, you just bring, like, armor players into the arena. Let's hope for an unlucky matchup.
Oh, well.
Jeorge probably belongs in C tier, right?
Yeah, he seems kind of nice. Do you think he's better than Tomas because you don't have to train him? Or do you think Tomas is better because he turns out better?
Tomas turns out better in a no-growths context, but I don't think that reflects better in terms of, like, a growths context, because, like, Jeorge is going to gain experience at the same rate as Tomas, right?
True.
So, he probably doesn't have as good growth rates as Tomas, but he's only behind by 2 speed to a promoted Tomas, and, like, maybe 1 point in one other stat. Like, Tomas is better in a 0% growth setting because you give him 2 levels and he just becomes Jeorge, but better. But Jeorge is better because he can get 2 points of speed by the time you get Tomas promoted. Because he has more availability, and also Tomas still needs to, level up twice.
Mm-hmm. I agree with the logic, but the growth differences aren't that big, though. Tomas has 30% speed growth, and Jeorge has 20%, for example. And then everything else is roughly the same, actually. Like, the difference is HP is 10 in Jeorge's favor. The strength is the same. Skill 10% in Tomas's favor. Weapon level is the same. Speed, like I said, Tomas is 10% higher. Luck is the same. Defense is the same. Res is the same. So...
But, Jeorge is going to join sooner, and like Tomas gets raised up by promotion, which means his first 2 levels, any stats he gains are basically null and void because he just gets brought to sniper bases anyway.
Well, that doesn't go for strength because the sniper base is apparently lower than whatever they join with. They both join with 7 strength. Let me see.
Oh, that's true. It's for speed. Like the big difference is 2 points of speed.
Yeah, so Jeorge
Tomas has like 5 speed, so any speed he gains before leveling up, like.
If it's mostly about speed, then yeah, I agree with you. The skill gets brought up to 10, so it's the same logic there. So I guess Jeorge can grow better stats than Tomas for a little bit, but his growths are not very good. They're like, besides like HP and weapon level, they're like Jagan level, roughly. A little bit better.
Yeah,
like
I mean, realistically, you can use either one of them and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Jeorge just doesn't require effort to get there.
Okay.
Tomas does.
I think effort is enough pain to do it like this, but I don't think it's a very big difference in growth. So yeah, whatever. I do think
you
it should
can
be
swap
next
them if you want.
Yeah,
you can swap them if you want. They fulfill the same role. Like they're your Parthia user.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Another warp. How good is this one?
She's your 3rd warper.
You get her before Boah, but after Wendell. Yeah, you're right.
Yes. But you get the 2nd warp staff after. You get the 2nd warp staff after she joins, like the chapter after she joins. So I always give. I mean, I say always. I've played the game 3 times. I gave it to her all 3 times because I wanted Boah. So the thing about sages or bishops, whichever they're called, if they use a staff, they equip it. It's like FE10. Kaga did it first, so they can't counterattack. So I never wanted him to use staves when he like still had spells, when he still was doing combat. So I gave the 2nd warp staff to her because like she's not going to counter with fire anyway.
That makes sense. But does that make her better? Because like I feel like
no.
Wendell's more versatile that way. Also, Wendell's around.
I think Wendell's more
Yeah.
Wendell's more versatile. Wendell's like I think that Wendell is better, but I don't think she's automatically like your 3rd warper. Like she's a choice to be your 2nd warper because you get the 2nd warp staff, and they're both around. You just choose one of them.
That's fair. Wow, why is this so serious anyway?
I did my research.
You sure did. I'm surprised at how much we're talking here. So, warp is good enough for A tier, right? Like by itself almost.
Yeah, bottom of A tier, I guess.
Yeah, I think so
bottom
too.
of A tier or top of B. Like she joins pretty late, but she joins right before you get your 2nd warp staff anyway. So it's like her being around earlier than that wouldn't have helped you that much, other than a heal staff. Which heal is a vulnerary. Heal is a vulnerary and mend is 2 vulneraries. And physic is a vulnerary. And fucking fortify is a vulnerary. It's all vulneraries. It's all 10.
Wait, it's all vulneraries? Always has been. Okay. Where's Jake so I can put Beck next to him?
Beck is worse. Beck joins later.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, they're very fun.
Worse than the game.
Shoutouts to Beck for he joins with a weapon that is effective against ballisticians, but he joins on top of a cliff, and ballistas have 2 range in this game, so he can't actually shoot any of the He joins in the ballistician chapter with an anti-ballista weapon, and still cannot contribute because he's on top of terrain that he can't pass.
Can he not reach any of them, like over the cliff, or is the cliff too big?
He can reach them over the cliff, but the cliff is full of forest, so his move gets reduced to 2. Because he has 4 move at base, and 2 when moving across forest, which is the only terrain up there. And all of the ballistas start near the left, and his village is on the right. So if you want to use him, it's the most tedium ever, because you start inching him, and he can only hit the ones that are already on the top next to his cliff.
Okay, counterpoints. FE11, that map is absolutely awful, with everything being like 3 to 10 range instead. So they sacrificed their own utility, Jake and Beck, to make that chapter less painful, and I think we should thank them for it.
We can thank them by leaving them in E tier instead of creating an F tier just for ballisticians.
I agree. Works for me.
Jake has the utility of letting you skip the boss in his chapter, because another thing that FE1 does that's really cool, double gate. So he's standing on a gate, and then the boss is actually not even on the gate, but it is a hard to kill general that you don't want to kill. So you fly Sheeta up, talk to him, he moves off, you warp Marth, done in 1 turn. I mean, not 1 turn because you have to walk Marth to get Linde, but
yeah. Don't you also visit the house that Anna is in this one, or is that just FE11?
I don't think that's true in any of them. I've heard people say that that's true about FE11. I'm pretty sure it's not. You definitely don't have to in FE1 because I didn't visit the house. I visited some houses because I was looking for the watch out for arrows, and I was looking for that, and I was looking for you can't beat Garnef.
Let me see if SF says it. Jake. Talk with
so many people have said you need to talk to Anna, but I don't think you do.
All right, someone debunk it. SF says you have to, with an extra asterisk next to it saying you absolutely have to. So SF says you do.
I am 10,000%. Like
in FE11, mind you, not FE1. FE11 is when it says it.
Oh, I'm 10,000% certain you don't in FE1, but I'm also pretty sure you don't in FE11. Like, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure you don't. Okay. I think that's just like a. I
hope someone in the comments will point it out. Yeah, you don't.
I'll look into it. I'll investigate.
Interesting. All right, so that's the E tier. I'm pretty sure this is Midia. She doesn't look anything like she does in FE11, but I'm pretty sure this is Midia. Probably. I remember her like when she joins, she's like slightly better than Jacob, but at this point, Jacob has outlived his usefulness. It's not like you have like a max force rider's made to compensate or anything. So she seems pretty bad to me, actually. Midia.
Yeah, I tried making her work. I couldn't. Fine, like D tier.
Yeah, sounds about right. That's a good tier to put people in. I think I like early game utility better than whatever it is she does. So like, she can like make fast trips to the convoy. I guess that's about where it ends. I think so. Like here maybe.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, so you say that, but since there's no Canto, it doesn't really help. Like, the only way that having more move helps in terms of item management is if you're going across the field to get to convoy.
Yeah.
In which case, you probably were engaging in combat, and, like, Media's not doing combat, is she?
Yeah, true. So I guess maybe a little bit lower, because these other people can also convoy utility, but they're around for longer, so they can do it more, I guess. I don't know.
She recruits Astram, but, like, are we going to give her credit for that?
Nah, not really.
The Tooth Bros. So fun fact about the Tooth Bros. You know how I said the FE1 AI is smart enough not to attack when they deal 0 damage?
Yes.
The only exception I have found to that is the archers in the prison chapter will attack the Tooth Bros forever, dealing 0 damage.
Well, that's good.
I tried to replicate it, even with I thought, oh, maybe it's a Tooth Bro thing. I tried to replicate it with other enemies, they wouldn't. It was just those 2 archers with bow guns will attack the Tooth Bros for 0 damage for forever.
Thanks,
and then the only person you have to worry about is the Freeze Mage, which Freeze has shit accuracy and shit damage. So all of the units can survive that.
You were stressing about like keeping them alive. Like...
Well, because the last time I played that chapter was Shadow Dragon Hard 5.
Oh, that makes sense.
Where like you don't care about them surviving, but they get one-rounded.
So funny.
But yeah, I don't think that's enough utility to earn them a spot other than like D tier.
Yeah, D tier.
E tier. I don't know.
I was worried for a second.
What do you think? D or E? I was gonna
put them like between Lawrence and like the Ballista Bros. Like I could think of any way to use them. I was wondering if you did it in 0%. Did we?
I used them to block those archers. I gave them weapons. I walked them all the way to the supply tent to give them weapons, and then never deployed them again.
Wait, which archers did you block?
In the prison cell.
Oh, just
so
okay.
There's a jail cell where you can only have like 1 unit out of range of all the enemies because there's
so you use them to distract them from like Boah and friends. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I get it. I was like, did you give them
Boah, Tomas, and Midia, all of whom I care about. No, I gave them weapons after that. Like, I walked them to the supply to give them weapons in case I ever deployed them, because I used Roger for a while, but turns out I never used them.
Okay, I'll put him next to Roger, I guess. There you go. Oh, whoops. There you go. Much better.
There we go.
Okay. 4th Warp? Wendell? No, not Wendell. The other guy. Boah. There we go.
It's Boah. Yeah, it's. I mean, you only get 3 warps, so it's a choice of like warp or. He has good weapon levels for spells. Like he can use Full Cannon and Bolganon and Thoron.
Are those different spells? Volcanon and Bolganon? Is this the same spell? Right?
Oh, it might be the same spell.
I think so.
It might just be different translations.
Yeah.
But he can use Elfire. Elfire is really good. It's like 9 damage with pretty good accuracy.
Yeah, I used him a lot, I think. Whenever, like, I gave him, like, spells, and I just gave him a bunch of stuff, and then, like, whenever I deployed him, he did something useful. Because I didn't plan
These
anything.
are all things Wendell can do as well. So like he's just Wendell too.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean that's B tier at least, right? Like near the bottom, because I don't know, just use them both, right?
Yeah, I was thinking like it's so free, I might as well put him in A tier. Also, I'm trying to like find excuses to keep the B tier.
I don't think he's better than Merric because
true.
Like Merric joins much earlier and has a unique spell to his name, and like, I mean maybe that just means that Merric should be higher, but I don't think Merric deserves to be an A tier.
Okay, should we put him like right below Merric then?
Yeah,
maybe,
yeah. Like he can.
I don't know how he compares to the heroes, but yeah.
He has higher weapon rank than Merric, so he can use like spells that Merric can't. But I do think Excalibur is the second best spell. I think. Like Aura, obviously 20 damage, really good. But Excalibur, that 100% hit, just like reliability, not having to reset, reduces pain.
True. Okay. Do you think there's anyone who goes out of B tier? Because my B tier looks ugly right now. I need to fix it. It hurts.
Is that Astram or Samson?
This is Samson.
Yeah, get rid of him. He's not great. He's worse than hero bases. Like he joins worse than hero bases, and you probably have at least one promoted. I think you can only have one promoted hero by then. But like Ogma or Navarre, or if you're like Spicy, Rad, or Caesar, is going to be better than him. And like you don't need another footy combat unit.
I agree.
Like C tier, he's worse than Bantu. So middle is C tier somewhere. Like
Sure.
He's worse than Bantu. He's worse than Xane. Probably worse than Katria.
Yeah. All right. Okay. If anyone
Honestly, probably worse than Barst because Barst like joins earlier and can be useful when you have fewer units, right?
Yeah, I agree. I was actually thinking of dropping Barst further down now that I'm looking at it, but I don't know. I know his growths are kind of good, but I can't really think of much for him to do. I think he's okay-ish at combat. Never really liked him. Kind of one of these units that just dropped at some point because it was like no point in deploying him. He doesn't promote to like a better class like the heroes do.
I think of him like Deke in FE6, and that like he falls off, but he's really good in the beginning, and you credit him for that.
Yeah. Kind of like a better version of like the Gordons and the Dogas and the Darroses.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay. He can stay. He can stay. This seems fine. Hopefully there will be no more C tiers. Hell, wait, it's Astram. Hello, how's it going? Wait, is he
D tier.
Okay, good.
D tier, not because I think he belongs there, but because I don't want to like overload your C tier.
See, there you go. That's excuses we're looking for. Okay, get angry in the comments if you disagree with my Astram placement.
Anywhere in D tier, I don't really care. Divide the Axe Bros in half. Divide the Axe Twins in half.
I can't. They're bros.
No.
Okay, I did it.
There we go.
It hurts.
There we go.
Now it's gonna be like even more difficult to look at. You know how like when you're reading a line, like 2 lines of text, and you put the same word at the end of the first line and the start of the next line, and you read them as one?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, do that. Yeah, there we go. I mean, he's fine. It's the weird thing where they're worse than the pre-promotes, and then, like, whoever you promote is going to get raised to bases that are better than his, and then have time to grow before you get him.
Yeah.
And
the bases aren't even that great. I remember his HP is, like, not very good on Astram.
Yeah. I used him because, like, I needed combat units, but, like, Astram and Samson are both kind of just, like, very mid.
Uh-huh.
They should probably be swapped with each other, but like it doesn't matter.
No, not really. Like he has 4
Is
less.
that,
He has 4 more HP than Ogma, for example, at base, and 2 more speed.
Is that Arran?
Yeah, this is
in
Arran.
the TBD?
Yeah, that is Arran, the paladin. The guy you could
D-tier,
recruit.
I guess.
Yeah,
But
maybe even E tier. I don't know. He's so late.
You either have to send a paladin to the left or use a warp staff to get him, because his village gets destroyed by a thief before Marth can get there.
Yeah.
And that is a map that I just want to warp skip. So like, I walked Marth over to get the. That's a map with a 1 tile wide choke point. So like, I have Boah block that choke point, have Marth grab the Samson village, and then just.
By Boah, do you mean Bantu?
Yeah, Bantu. Sorry.
Yeah.
I have a Bantu wall off. But yeah, that's a chapter I just didn't feel like engaging with. And you got a very narrow river. You can fly your Minerva down there and kill the boss, so you only have to use 1 warp instead of 2.
So
why bother getting Arran? Like,
yeah.
I almost say why bother getting Samson as well, TBH.
Not true. I just do it because, like, at that point, if you're not getting him, then what are you playing chapters for? Why are you not just, like, skipping every bit of content at that point? Like, I try not to penalize people for the recruitment, but even if you do recruit Arran, I don't think he does anything. Because his bases are just that bad.
Pretty bad.
And that leaves warp number 5 or 6 or something, but in the Manaki chapter, and then the final chapter, and that's it. That's all you have her for, Elice.
She joins with only the Alm in her inventory, and the Alm can only be used in the final chapter. You can't use it in the second to last chapter for some reason.
Wait, I thought the whole point of the lore of the Alm staff was you can only use it in the shrine. I don't remember how it works. That's weird.
So you can only use it in the final chapter, because the final chapter is in the shrine.
That's weird. So you can bring back Vyland if he died, or like, because like the people, if someone died, and you play on, they're probably trashed. So you can revive a trash unit with this unit.
I think she's the other thing is I think that the Alm staff is significantly worse when you can't control where deployment slots are, because you can't guarantee that, because you're probably deploying your warpers for the chapter before. So you can't, like, it takes a lot of manipulation to put her in the same room as one of your warpers that has a 2-use warp staff. It was actually impossible for me to do. Like, I tried doing it and it wasn't possible. But it wasn't necessary anyway, because, like,
because you're trying to do like the thing with you're trying to do the thing where you use a unit twice against Medius. I see. I was like, why is this relevant?
No, I was trying to do the thing where you use the unit twice against the fucking mannequin guarding Medius, basically final
Medius,
boss of the
actual
game.
final boss, the gatekeeper.
Medius was such a scrub. Marth 2-rounded him. I mean, with the help of the Geosphere, because the Geosphere damages Medius. It's so stupid good. Can we put the Geosphere in S tier?
I don't have a Geosphere sprite.
But you know, Elice.
I could put Medius in E tier if you want.
Sure, put Medius in E tier. He's garbage.
So,
Elice. I'd say E tier. Because the other thing is, if you want her to use a staff other than the Alm staff, you have to spend time sending her to the supply, because she only joins with. She doesn't even have a physic.
I wish she had a warp.
Or a heal or anything.
That's kind of sad. Like, there's no reason to trade a warp off of a warper to give it to her, so she can't even do that.
Does she even have the weapon rank for warp? I did not even look at her stats.
I can check real quick. It doesn't matter, because you're never going to give it to her.
It really doesn't.
So
I know she doesn't have the weapon rank for Fortify, because I gave her a Fortify staff.
Yeah, so she has 7. She has 7 weapon level, and warp is 6. And Fortify
so she can warp.
is like 10. Fortify is 8, so if she gets... She has a 90% weapon... She has a 90% weapon rank growth, so if you ever level her up, she could probably get Fortify. But you have to do combat.
She joins in the second to last chapter. She almost certainly gets one-rounded by every... Because it's all Silverbow snipers and Manicheets and... the bishops probably don't one-round her because they have spells, and spells deal fixed damage.
Oh, yeah.
But they probably double her. So, like, if there's any Thunder or Freeze bishops, maybe?
Well, how much... Do you remember? Bishops have 14 speed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Elice is 7, you just don't give her a weapon, and then whatever the bishops have, they have like freeze.
I mean, it's possible she survives around a combat, because base level S survives around a combat with some units in that chapter.
I'm assuming freeze is Blizzard, which weighs 2, so never mind, she's getting doubled by those, and her res is 0 like everyone else's, so yeah. I mean, you could also, instead of leveling her up, you can also promote her and get 10 weapon level up, Kappa. That will only take, instead of leveling her up once, you'll have to level up 6 times instead, which is much better. Yeah, this is a good unit.
I would say she's worse than the Ballisticians. Like, she's the worst unit in the game.
Okay, I agree. Looking at it, I can't actually find any.
But there is a fun fact about Elice.
Oh, no.
Did you know that Gotoh actually has growth rates? And they're identical to Elice's, and the game uses a single... because I had to edit, because nobody has made a 0% growth to FE1 ROM. Shocker. So I had to edit a ROM. I had to edit a ROM myself in Nightmare, and the same thing that is used to, like, if you edit Elice's stat growths, it edits Gotoh's, which is very funny to me that he has growth rates, but his growth rates are just tied to Elice's because they didn't have room in the cartridge for it, but they wanted to give him growth rates, I guess.
That is so funny to me.
I can't think of a reason for it, but
I love that.
Yeah, if you edit his starting level, he has growth rates and they match Elice's. So if you edit Elice's growth rates, it changes his.
That is utility right there. That's funny. Well,
but that shows how much they expected Elice to level up, the same amount as Gotoh.
I guess you could like physics someone. That's really all I can think of for Elice. Like physics someone, like give someone a vulnerate basically without using up their turn. And that's it.
Yeah, I mean you got to trade a physic onto her though.
Yeah, with someone who can use a physic probably. So same thing as warp.
There's 2 physics. No, I think there's only 1 physic in the game. Plus there's the secret shop physics, which
you get 2 in Shadow Dragon, but I don't know.
Oh, maybe there's 2. Maybe there's 2, and then the secret shop ones. Mm-hmm. I know that they are only sold in 1 secret shop. It's the secret shop that is there's a locked door behind the throne of the retaking of Altea Castle, and there's a secret shop on that tile that sells physics and a couple of other not great things. It sells Swarm, which is a good magic spell, but.
So I guess you can have a scrub go there, buy it, and then have him convoy it in another chapter, and then she can take it out and use it in the final chapter. If you're fighting Anarchy, I guess. Okay, whatever. Then I will take the Balsists over her, I guess. I don't know why, because I can't think of anything they can do, but, you know, I like this, though. Well, that's the whole list, I think. We discussed every unit, or, like, we placed every unit that wasn't placed yet. Is there anything that looks off to you right now?
No, not really. I don't actually know how the Christmas calves perform in a growth setting. Just because, like, I usually drop them, but they seem like they would.
I use Abel a lot. He was pretty fine to have every now and then. Like, I think B tier is fine for him.
Yeah, they seem worse than Hardin, but still good.
Yeah.
Same with Sheeta. Like, I think her weapon level probably carries her, but like worse than Minerva, but availability good.
Yeah. I mean, once she promotes, she'll be better than Minerva, so that's also there, I guess.
I mean, just promote Paula.
Yeah, that works as well. You just use both tomorrow. It falls.
Use both, even though the first Dragon Whip you get is in the Tiki chapter, and the second one is in the Medius chapter.
Oh, the Medius chapter. You mean that one that like ends the game? Okay.
Oh no, not Medius. Garneth.
Oh, Garneth.
I get them confused.
Okay. I mean, they're both scrubs, so that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. We talked about FE1 for an hour and 60 minutes. How do you feel?
I feel good. I love talking about FE1 because there's so many weird quirks to the game.
It's so goofy.
Can I share one more FE1 weird quirk before we go?
Yes.
Nothing to do with units.
Sure.
But we brought up Garneth and it reminded me. So in Shadow Dragon, Garneth is randomized. There's 3 Garneths. There's like some fake Garneths, right?
Yeah.
And they all have immunity to in them, but then like when you attack the fake ones, it turns out they have like Thoron or whatever their actual spell is, right?
Yeah.
In FE1, not only is Garneth's location not randomized, the same every time, but the other 2 Garneths, like you can see what weapons they have if you select them. They also don't have a portrait, and the real Garneth has a portrait. And real Garneth moves every turn, which is something that bosses do, and the fake Garneths don't.
How did you see through my illusions?
Like he does a thing where he when I say moves, he stands still but grays out as if he's taking his turn, which is something that bosses do. So like there's so many ways to tell who the fake Garneth is or who the real Garneth is. It's so stupid.
I don't remember. Is this map the same as in Shadow Dragon or is it a different one? Because there's a different one in one of the games, but I don't remember which.
It's the same, but the locations are different. The fake Garneths are all in the throne room. It's the same designed map, but the fake Garneths are all in the throne room. The enemy composition is a little different too. There's like thieves with devil swords who are kind of a threat. And yeah, that's all I can think of.
Okay. Well, you can still win against Garneth, so that's what matters the most.
You can. I was using the talisman glitch on basically all of my units because it made mages just like stand around like they were chumps. I had forgotten to do it to my healers, so I ended up having to like do complicated inventory management because Merric was my Starlight user, and he gets doubled by Garneth, but not one-rounded. But he would need healing every turn, so I was like, well, I need clerics who are not going to get attacked to heal him every turn. And then he just got a crit and one-rounded him. After I spent 20 minutes of fucking inventory management, the worst thing to do in Shadow Dragon.
Yikes. That is funny though. Well, I think we can call it here. We made an FE1 tier list. I'm very happy that we made this because I know everyone has been begging for this one for forever. People were like, you know what, Mecha, why don't you stop playing FE7 and start making FE1 tier lists? But now I've finally done it. Dani, thank you so much for your expertise and your anecdotes and your little unit stories. I enjoyed them a lot. And thank you all for watching. And I'll see you all next time.
Thank you for having me.